Hello there, welcome to Rob's Models. I'm Rob and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and a review. I thought I'd just leave it whilst it's still in the box, and you can see right from the very beginning, and this is what turned up today by courier. I got an email this morning saying that it was going to be delivered, and actually got an email last week from Hornby, which of course owns Airfix, to say that it was in stock. I just never got the email in the middle to say that they were posting it. So pretty pleased about this one. It was one of those things where I was looking on the Airfix website last month, looking at things which were being potential pre-order items, what was new tools, those sort of things, and just going, oh, that would be nice. A bit of, how should we say, a bit of window shopping actually turned into actual shopping. And I then put a few things on pre-order, and things that I wouldn't normally buy, so or tend to build so much. And I do want to don't want to end up as someone who just builds military aircraft in 1:48 scale. So I thought, let's do a few little different things. And actually, what I'm pleased with this is something which is a little kit. However, I thought I'll get it because it's little, it'll be quick. And what I plan to do is not only do a quick review of it now, but within the next few days actually start sticking together. And this literally is a new tooling, so I'm guessing it's only just appearing in shops. When I checked this morning, this wasn't even available on Amazon at the moment. So I will show you what it is. So here's the box, and it is wrapped up in bubble wrap, and got the invoice there for it. A nice elastic band. You can probably see it's a tank of some description, and it is in the nice red Airfix box, a new tooling of the 1:72 scale Tiger 1. Okay, there we go. So some nice box art first of all on there. And it actually feels, before I get too carried away, it actually feels quite solid in there as well. So we've got some nice box arts. It's the sort of typical sort of standard starter size-ish. So the box itself, 23 centimetres by, what's that, 13 centimetres sort of thing. And two options. We've got the cam version, which is the Tiger 1, commanded by, well, basically Normandy, France, 1944, and there's the winter version, which would have been in Russia, and that was the 1943 to 1944. So that should be good. If you're counting them, that's 1 flying hours as well. So it should be quite a nice little kit. It's reference number is A02342. As I said, it feels quite solidly packed in there. So I'm not an armour person. I don't make tanks. I haven't made a tank. If I have, it was a long time ago. I don't recall. So a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I thought I'd go for a small one, and I do plan to make a larger scale one. But when I saw this at 1:72 scale, which is a little bit, that's normally for planes, not so much of an armour scale one. Normally 1:76, isn't it? But let's see what's in the box. So of course I've just done the little tabs. Open this up, and what do we have? Okay, well, we've definitely got quite a bit of plastic in there, and it is coloured brown. Let's put the plastic aside and just see what we have here. Instructions first of all, and colour paint scheme, and decals. So the Tiger 1, as per usual, it comes with a little bit of blurb on there. So the mighty German Tiger 1 entered service in autumn of 1942 and was the most advanced tank in the world, and one specially designed to dominate the battlefield. So it gives a little bit of in-depth information on there. You've got the actual maximum speed of 25 miles an hour range, but it also says here as well that it's a width of 53 millimeters and a length of 118. So basically the width is going to be pretty much about 2 inches when made, and a length of about 12 centimeters. So you're looking about 3 inches long, 2 inches wide. So it's going to be quite small, but hopefully it's going to be quite detailed, because this is the new 2020 tooling. And as what tends to happen with the Airfix kits is the instructions, the only colour they've got on there is red. So let's see, the first option, well, we've got here is some options here. Note, there are 2 build options for the track assembly for this model. Airfix recommend that less experienced modelers use the pre-assembled tracks shown in the left-hand illustration. So if using a simpler pre-assembled tracks, follow steps 1 to 25, but miss out steps 26 to 60 and finish with step 61, so it looks like there's pre-assembled tracks. If using the separate track parts, follow steps 1 to 22, miss out steps 23 to 25, and then follow steps 26 to 61. Okay, so I'm guessing that that's going to be a lot more in depth, and you can actually already see, get a bit of a sneak peek about how there's 2 ways to assemble the track. Literally, each of the tyres, each of the road wheels, and then building up the tracks, or just stick the tracks on. I am wondering whether, as it's my first tank, whether I should just go for the more simpler option. We'll see. So it looks quite simple. We'll start off with putting the chassis together. As the chassis comes together, we've got a few little holes that we're going to need to be drilled out. Refer to parts on step 13, page 5. So it looks like going to have to be looking ahead as to which parts we want to put on. That will be for if you want to be attaching the tow ropes. You want to drill out the holes for that. If you're not attaching the tow ropes, don't bother. That'll just be the pins. So going to be building the whole chassis up, exhaust covers, putting those ropes on, and then the turret itself. Looks like there's going to be a bit more drilling to do if you're adding on extras. Okay, if you're looking to add on the spare track parts, which would be, you'll have to pre-drill holes out for those parts. And then, here we come to it, if you want to go simple, there is the pre-moulded all-in-one tracks, or I say all-in-one, each side it's 2 parts, they come together, and then just simply slot on. Or, if we're going to go a bit more complicated, it looks like you've got a run of tyres there, and then as you start building up, put those driving cogs at the end, and then individual faces for the road wheels, and then the actual tracks themselves are in parts. So then you put the top part and then build up the curves at the front and the back with the individual parts, and actually then repeat. Actually, quite a lot of that is actually just a mirror image, one for the left side, one for the right side. So that all comes together, and then you would build up those units, and then just simply drop the turret onto the main chassis, and there you have your very own Tiger One. So that actually looks quite, I didn't realise that there was 2 options for that, so that is actually quite a nice way, so that if you want to get it done quick, or you're not too experienced, you can go straight in with, basically get the wheels, get the tracks on quite quick, or go for the build it up individually, but that will enable you to get more weathering in there and then build the tracks around. So it gives you a bit more flexibility on there. This looks quite nice. There we go. We have the colour. Well, I was going to say on this side, it is colour, but because it's a white scheme, there's not really much colour, just apart from painting it white, which actually would be quite interesting. And yeah, that's the Belarusia 1943 to 1944. So that would actually be quite a nice scheme, and actually probably make quite a nice diorama actually. So just basically pretty much putting it all white apart from gunmetal tracks, and the only bit of colour on there would be the wood for the tools that get stowed on the top of the tank. Or to make it a bit more complicated, we have here this one from Normandy in France, 1944, and this one has been commanded by Michael Whitman. So that's a 4 colour paint scheme by the look of it. Start off with the matte light olive, matte brown, yellow, then some matte wood. The wood would of course be for the tools. So 3 colour paint scheme, and the brown would be the matte German camouflage brown. So that is going to be a lot more striking, but obviously a little bit more tricky to do. So actually, if you're a starter it would be quite good maybe going for the white one with the tracks, and if you really want to get complicated, build up the road wheels, build up the tracks, go for that paint scheme on there, and that should make for quite an interesting kit. But at the scale of 1 to 72, it is going to be quite small. So let's see what we've actually got in the box. Actually, decals first of all, not too much in the way of decals. We've just got a couple of the just a very simple decal sheet actually, just with the numbers for each, and of course a few of the crosses. So one's either going to be the 007 or one's going to be the 332, and each have got a little cross to go with it, and that is the only real decals to go on there. Okay, oh, and one's got a little insignia, but they look quite nicely done. They are quite a little bit raised. However, I have found the new Airfix decals do go on quite nicely. And let's look at the plastic. That's what we want to see. Now this is the 2020 tooling. This is literally just come out. So I am recording this on, when is it? The 14th of December 2020. And this come into the Hornby's warehouse last week. So this is, I'm assuming, is just it got shipped out to me today, and I'm assuming it will be in shops. As I said, I checked on Amazon earlier, and it wasn't actually on there. So let's look at this first of all. Get this out of the way. This is the pre-made tracks, and I've got to say, with those, I am a little disappointed. I wouldn't say completely disappointed, but they do feel quite chunky. I would have thought that, you know, they don't look hollow, is probably the best way to put it. They do, yeah. I'm sure they'll be fine, but they do feel thick, and they haven't got a huge amount of detail in there, and the tracks themselves don't look quite so elegant. Okay, well let's compare to see what we've actually with the other tracks, and I tell you what, let's go straight in for it, because this is actually, I guess, you're going to either be using this sprue or that sprue, but suddenly, looking at the more detailed ones, they do look a lot thinner. So the actual treads themselves have got a lot more detail on. You can see the joins, which is quite odd, because you'd be thinking that this one would have just as much detail on, but you can actually see we've got more sort of tread patterns, more of the linkages, whereas and just generally the wheels themselves, the road wheels in there, are a lot more fine lit and crisper printed, better moulding. I would have thought that, especially as it's going to be a case of, you know, computer aided design, it would be a case of copy paste, and obviously with a CAD, but no, these seems to be completely different design, as in it almost looks like it's been a different designer who's done them. The hubs of the road wheels are different, and a lot more fine, a lot more detail. These do look quite toy-like, which is quite a surprise actually. Yeah, there's more. There's actually texture to the. You can almost see, it's tricky to bring out in the light, but I'm sure with a wash there is actually texture to the tread of each of those trucks. But that's just flat. It is very toy-like. So if you're over 10, go for, put the extra effort in. I don't think that's going to be too hard to do. That will make it a bit more toy-like, but that is going to be great for knocking a kit up on a Sunday afternoon with your nephew type thing. But I do think everyone's going to be going for this option, definitely the way forward. So that's really the options there. That's the actual tracks for it. The rest of these sprues, there's a few little extra bits there to go with the tracks. Actually, that's got more of the ancillary bits. So these are some of the spare bits that go on there, the ropes, the tow ropes, the spare bits of track, some little tow hooks, those sort of things. The little, essentially, lumps and bumps. The main part of it actually comes down to these two sprues. So this part for the chassis of the main bulk of it, and we have got some nice finely moulded detail in there, although I say finely moulded, not a huge amount of detail. Got some bolt cutters moulded in, some of the tools actually, I would have thought they'd be separate, but you have got a spade on there. Yeah, the tools surprisingly are moulded on. I would have thought that they would have actually been separate, just sort of placed on. That would be doable. I guess what you could do is, yeah, you would no problem actually cutting them off, sanding them off if you didn't want them on there. So that is a little bit of a surprise, but I guess it is kind of a starter kit, 1 to 72nd scale. So actually you're going to be keeping that simple. But I've got to say there's not a huge amount of detail on there. We have got some riveting detail, that's going to be the skirts around the side. And yeah, on the, just checking where we've got it, there are some sink marks going on, but those are all on the reverse side, and that is all going to be on the inside. So although you have some ejection marks and some sink marks, no ejection pins, but I would say that that is actually looking pretty good. It's also quite a nice harder plastic. It's not so soft as what some of the Airfix kits have been. I have just noticed this is definitely quite new because, and I've never noticed this on an Airfix kit before, there's still some of the release agent actually on there. So this might be worth, actually that does feel a little bit greasy. Normally with Airfix kits you get so many done that by the time you get your kits, there's no release agent, they don't need washing, but that one still had that little bit of greasy residue on there. So it really has been one of the first ones to come literally out of the machine. And let's get onto the turrets. So again, moulded turret, moulded hatches on there. We've got some a few rivets around, but I've got to say not a huge amount of detail actually. It's more hinting at the detail rather than actually putting the detail in there. But I'm guessing you wouldn't have too much problem wanting to add a few little bits. 1 to 72nd scale, it's probably not going to be the best for diorama, and it might be a bit tricky to get in this scale, get some of the sort of upgrades to sort of detail the kit. But I would say actually, this, you know, what you've got to work with, yeah, and still there's I can see it shining in the lights, still the release agent on there, just goes to show how new this is. But it should still give quite a good kit. Now, just to sort of give an idea, that's the top part of the chassis, and that really does just come in at 7 centimeters. So it is going to be small. You are looking at a total length of about 3 inches. So it is going to be small, about 3 inches long, 2 inches wide. Some of those details are moulded on, but actually I think for a serious armour person, this is probably going to be a bit too small. You're going to want to go for a larger scale, or 1 to 35th scale, I'm guessing. But I've got to admit, I'm not blown away by it. Maybe because I'm a bit more used to making the sort of the aircraft. But saying that, the last few years, the Airfix put out which I've made, the FW190, the Focke-Wulf 190, that I got actually as a starter kit, £5 from Audi or Lidl or something, come with the paints, come with a brush. And that went together really nicely, really nice crisp detail, loads of panel lines. So actually, looking at this, considering this is in the same scale, I'm actually a little bit disappointed. The cost for this is, the RRP is £9.95, so basically a tenner. And I've got to say, for £10, I'm not completely blown away with it. I just think, I think it's a nice option to have those, but in reality, if you get them, you will, I'm assuming if you're watching a video on YouTube about this kit, you're looking to build it yourself, and I don't think you would want this. If you're buying this as a kit, say you've got a nephew who's into tanks and you want to get him into a bit of Airfix modelling, that would be a good option. So instead of, you can literally throw that sprue away, that would be the little fiddly one, and have this, put the two parts together, bang. And to be honest, there is a bit of detail in there, don't just think it's plain, but you would need to put a wash in there to really start bringing the detail out. Whereas there's a lot more detail actually on the tracks that you're going to have to make yourself, and I just find it odd that some of that detail wasn't actually replicated on there. It really is chunky. So I'm a little bit perplexed by that one. However, I'm guessing, to be honest, a Tiger 1 tank, it's not going to have a huge amount of detail on, and it does give a bit of option for weathering, for sort of making a bit of a diorama, and just maybe for getting into tanks. So I do think I'm going to make it, because I don't just want to do a review, stick it on the shelf. What I want to do is put this out as the initial review. I've just noticed I forgot to mention it because there wasn't any. There is a little bit of flash, and when I say little bit of flash, I just caught it. It's on one sprue, and you can just see between the road wheels. If I just put my hand behind, you can just see, where was it there? There's a little bit of flash, but actually, it's actually on the sprue itself, not the parts. So no flash actually on the parts. Oh, there's one little bit. Okay, that's not much at all. So shouldn't be much cleanup. And actually looking at it as well, talking of cleanup, it does look like the sprue gates are actually in sensible places where you're able to file it down to get nice fits. So places where it either won't make too much difference or it will be more easily accessible. Although saying that, those toe hooks have actually got 2 points, so that they might be the tricky bit, but with a scalpel they should come out fine. So that is a quick unboxing, a quick review of Airfix's 1/72 scale Tiger 1. It's only a small kit. I've still got to say, I've not been completely blown away. I do feel that a bit more detail could have been put on there. However, it should make a nice little kit. Interesting paint schemes on there. Keep it simple and use the pre-made tracks. Stick those together, paint it white, and you'll have a nice little kit. However, I think most modelers will be building up the tracks themselves and actually going for the 3-tone camouflage one. This is going to be my next build, so we'll see how it goes. I'll probably be actually live streaming the build on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/robsmodels. However, what I'll then do is to then do another video here just for YouTube, where then we'll review the build process. I'll take photos throughout as well, so even if you don't follow the live build, you'll still be able to see the process. I can talk through the highs and lows, and then actually do a post-build summary and review of it once it's actually been built. So I hope that's proved useful. I would say, if you are thinking of getting a Tiger 1 or a tank, a small tank without having to go a bit larger scale, then for £10 this is probably going to be a good starter. But I would say for the more serious armour person, maybe this probably isn't the right kit for them. But maybe someone like myself who's been making planes and just want to go for something a little bit different, and literally little, I think it should be quite a good kit. It looks like it should go together, although there's not a huge amount of detail. What there is has been crisply moulded. It looks like there's no flash, sprue gates are all out the way, so it should be quite easy to take off, clean up, and then we can just get it built, get it painted, and hopefully be doing that over the next couple of weeks. I've been Rob. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe, then you can see how that goes and for future builds. Have a great time, thanks for watching, and keep modelling.